marking line is moving, so you have to be more careful. Maybe that cracking is a major cracking which relate to your structure. But if the marking line is stay, maybe there's only cracking on part of the plastering part. So sebagai engineer, you have to know that the basic, when you receive the problem, you have to bound the problem and go back to the theory that you already learned in the class before. So break down the problem. So you have to explore each part. Tadi saya bagi contoh lain cracking. So you have to you came to the site and then you explore the site. You jangan explore saja because it involve cracking. That's why I told you mark the cracking punya part. Dekat mana area dia. Mark, biasanya kita mark dengan marker. Sebab nanti kalau dia adalah minor cracking, you akan plastering dan cat semula saja. And then build up the hierarchy, seek the best focus. So when your client complaining, please respond in a technical way. Okay, jangan you ambil tak kisah je. So as an engineer, you have to respond in a technical way. So the first one is breakdown kan. What are the second one is cat-u. So cat-u ni is came from Peter Checkland lah. Ni adalah istilah saja. Tadi saya kata cat-u tu apa? Listing Cat is the customer, A is actor, T is transformation process. Alright. For the customer section, so then they when they asking you, so what problem do they have now? So you have to listen, patient and listen to the problems. Dia bukan you terus rebuttal. Oh tak, you orang kata, we already do it completely. No, because client, they have the right to complain because when your project is already finished, normally by using the tendering document, like 5% will be hold for the checking purpose. 5% lah normally. If the construction is big, so maybe the percentage will be more larger a little bit. Client akan hold bayar. Jadi you guys as an engineer, you have to be more careful when you receive the problem from the customer. You have to identify well what are the problem. Then how do you react with the problem that they give it to you? Contohnya kan, kalau klien kata ada crack, you jangan, oh tak apalah, nantilah bila-bila you tengok. The more time you drag, so the more longer your client will hold the portions. But basically complaint period ni ada masa. And then what is the A? A is actors. Who will do the corrections? All right, who will do the corrections in order to identify the best solution? So normally as an engineer, you should came as the team. You as an engineer, and then you do have your site supervisor that was the diploma holder with you, that normally will every day on site with your ground workers. So engineer, and then you do have your site supervisor as well as your ground workers. So, and then you need to see also what is the impact on them, and then how does they react. So you have to ask back your site supervisor, how does he give the instruction to the ground workers when you as an engineer receive the complaints from your client. Normally site supervisor will be on site every day, so when they receive problem, they will act faster. And then the T is transformation process. Transformation process involving you give the inputs and what are the output that we expect. So just now back to our example of the cracking. When your customer giving you the complaint on the cracking, what does the customer expect at the end of the day? They want the crack to be resolved because they pay for the house. So whether you like it or no, they want the crack to be resolved. Okay. So in order to resolve that, you as an engineer, you have to give the inputs lah to your team how to start to investigate the cracking and look at the cracking whether it is major and minor. If it is from the major work, a lot more of things that you have to define. If on minor work, it's a more easier one. If you got question, please ask me. So CAT, and then what is WOE? And then W is the worldview. In the construction industry, normally you are not alone. You have your peers that working with the same background as well. So when you got certain problem that you might think you could not solve, please refer to the problem to your subordinate that have the experience with the similar experience to you to speed up your thinking in identifying and solving the problem. So from the worldview also, you can see that how does the real problem working, and then what is the wider impact of a solution nowadays. With the artificial intelligence technology, we have many software that can help you, but be careful on the software because the most software is man-made. Contohnya chat GPT. Because that was the man-made using AI. But supposing your brain is clever than the software, you could not you could not treat the software cleverer than you. No, all right, because we are human, we have the brain to think. And then what is O? O is the honor. Honor like your customer that pay you with certain sum of money. Can they help you, or sometimes they refuse to pay the balance of 5%. So you have to prove that you can solve the problems until they pay. And that is why doing any project, you must have agreement. Okay, agreement that is stamping agreement, because any party that breach the contract could be sued through the agreement. All right. So honor also, you will see what would cause them to get in your right way, and then what lead them to help you. No, sometimes the owner itself, they have an idea, but you as the technical person in the project, supposing your idea should be greater than what idea thrown by the owner. And then E is any environmental constraint. So look also on the constraint which relates to the environment. Is there any ethical limit, or is there any law bounded with the problems? And then if there are specific law at that bounded, so what are the possible solution to be used, right? So that the second one is on the cat wool. The third one is on Kipling method. Kipling is asking question. So what is the problem? So WH question. Okay. Where is the problem happen? So when is the problem happen? Why does the problem happen? How is the method? How do you want to solve the problem with certain solution? Who do you need to involve in solving the problems? Kipling method basically is the asking question using WH question or how. All right. Just now I told you, when you want to speed up the process of identifying the problem, you need to focus with your positive ideas. Seek to understand the positive idea. So you have to clear your mind with the negative idea. Look at the positive one, but you could not deny on the negative ideas. What will be happen if you could not solve the problem? So you must have several plan A, plan B, plan C. If your plan A is not working, you go to the plan B, and then you go to the other option as well. In the real problem of the project, you must come out with several solving method. You could not have one. If the one is not working, you must try the second one, because why? You have the specific timeline to finish up the problem. This one, the fifth one, the storyboard. Just now I told you a storyboard. Some of you maybe do not like the writing, so do the storyboard. Do an illustration or pictures to figure out the problem. Okay, you can draw the pictures from start to the output. So in the middle, what are the process? That was the storyboard. Look at the this is an example. Use the picture. Okay. So this is an example to make to do a baking. So when you want to bake anything, you should have the ingredient, and then you want to use your mixture. You must activate the stand and set up the stand and release it, and then you finish your baking process. So this is an example of the storyboard. Storyboard actually is not compulsory. Maybe it is not a boring attempt to solve the problems, all right? Or else if you don't like the storyboard, you have to write down the process one by one, and then reverse it from our backwards. Okay, take any problem, so reverse it in some way. So you have to reverse it back. You can reverse the basic concept, principle, or any elements. Example that we give here: the room is dark, I'm looking for ways to make it brighter instead of looking ways. So for example, when the room is dark, could you putting mirrors, or could you, or white paint in the dark corner, so it will make the dark it will reduce the darkness of the room. Okay, so this basically six basic step how you want to came across to solve the problems. All right, look at the problems in HS2 construction. Complaint continue to decrease. The complaint which relate to noise, traffic, lighting, dust, and site management has led to the decreasing of complaint. The largest number of complaint are in connection to roadworks and road use, with road closure impacting communities along the road. According to the Mark Waddington, 24 hours electric generators need to be fully considered, and the rollout of noise installation and ventilation measures should be monitored. So, look at the picture. What can you see? Apa yang tak ada? Saya tanya sekejap apa yang you boleh nampak? Saya tanya Haziq Fikri ada? Haziq.
Ya saya.
Dekat gambar tu apa yang Haziq boleh nampak? Pagi ni jangan ngantuk lagi. Apa yang Haziq, diorang komplain ni adalah projek pembinaan Bila projek pembinaan diorang akan komplain bising, berabuk, pengurusan site tidak teratur. Jadi sebab Haziq pernah pergi LI? Dah pergi LI belum?
Belum.
Tak pernah tengok construction project kan?
Pernah.
Benar. Jadi dalam gambar tu, what can you see from the picture? Why does you think the residential complaining on your project?
Tak ada noise barrier.
Tak ada noise barrier. Lepas tu you nampak kan lift lift yang apa ni besar, and then lift ni biasanya dia buat kerja apa? Foundation work kan? Jadi sebagai jurutera nanti bila Haziq dah kerja, bila you nampak macam ni, projek ni mungkin berada di tengah bandar. Sebab you nampak apa tu? The sky dengan bangunan-bangunan tinggi kan? If the project, okay, thank you Haziq. If the project located in the middle of the city, you have to schedule your work very very careful. Why? Because in the middle of the city ni semua pejabat, dia bukan rumah pejabat. Jadi when it is office located nearby your project, you have to schedule very well. Example if you want to do the foundation work, you have to start doing the foundation work when? Very early in the morning or at night because malam orang tak kerja. Kalau you buat di housing area, you tak boleh buat foundation ni waktu malam sebab bising. Faham tak? Sebagai engineer, you must tackle all project ni differently. Jadi kalau dia di tengah bandar, you ada banyak sewa machinery lift apa untuk ni jentera berat untuk dibawa ke site dengan ada bunyi bising dengan nak buat foundation lagi. So you have to assign the time very well. Siapa yang biasanya akan dia akan ada PM and CM, right? Project manager and construction manager. Kedua-dua mereka mestilah inline to when to start certain work, because or else if you could not communicate well, complain nowadays you have to be more careful when people complaining, they won't complain to your side only. They will complain to the police station or DOE. When it's involved dusty or what, they will straight complain to the Department of Environment. Bunyi bising, habuk juga. Dia boleh complain ke balai polis jadi pastikan site you tidak disita jadi sebagai as a junior engineer, you must be more careful. The locations of your site will determine when to start certain work. Dia tak bermaksud kalau you tak boleh buat malam ada kerja yang pending. So waktu siang you have to arrange well what could you do, especially kalau dia melibatkan foundation, transporting material from the inside to outside of your side from your side kan. Sebab bila banyak sangat lori besar masuk keluar site, dia akan create bahaya kepada pengguna jalan raya. So you should be more careful in designing the schedule. Memang you dah buat CPM tau, critical path method. Lepas ini apa kerja teknikal. Tetapi as an engineer, you must go to the site and please decide well before you start with the work. Okay. So after I share with you, could you identify now what is it the problem statement? Problem statement actually and issues that need to be solved, all right? And issues that need to be solved. Normally, why you need to be solved and how you need to be solved, you have to identify gaps of problems, gaps of knowledge. When you want to solve the problem, you have to identify gaps of the knowledge. Contohnya whatever you want to do, you have the problems. Lepas tu you mesti ada apa? Objektif kan untuk selesaikan masalah. Objektif. You must come out with the objective one. Apa? Objektif tu apa? Objektif 3 apa? Nanti I will teach you. Each of the objective to solve the problem should for objective 1, what is the gap? For objective 2, what is the gap? So because if you can understand the gap, definitely you can speed up your thinking to came across to solve the problem. Jadi setiap objektif mesti ada gap of knowledge Setiap objektif untuk selesaikan masalah apa. So, how to write the problem statement? So, you have to determine the problem, quantify the consequences. The third one is the research desire to the outcome, and then identify the step and draft and iterate. Iterate ni if you using the computer, or kalau you tak guna computer, you tak payahlah iterate kan. So this basically apa? Kipling method tadi kan, asking question. Why, when, how, what, where, who. Quantify and consequence adalah when you want to solve the problem, you must relate it with how much budget your company already allocated for that particular project. You cannot simply find one established method and then you straight away plan when you straight away plan to use the method. No, whatever method that you think how to solve the problem, please reflect to the budget. Macam mana you nak tengok budget? Before any project started, you guys normally in a civil engineering, you will be provided with the BQ kan, bill of quantity, BQ. BQ yang company you isi untuk dapatkan tender project. Dia tak kisahlah company you ni main contractor atau main consultant, you will work based on the BQ. Kerana apa? Dekat BQ, company you akan tuliskan what are your proposed budget before you bid the project. Ni sangat penting. You dah belajar kan BQ. Jadi dalam BQ biasanya company akan tunjukkan. Jadi when you want to solve the problem also, please refer to the existing BQ. Kalau tak tahu tanya saya sebab saya pasti istilah-istilah yang saya gunakan ni adalah yang you pernah belajar. So, and then research the desired outcome. So you want to get the goal. So you have to see the root cause of the problem, and then speak to your clients and then or your stakeholder that involved with the project, and then you have to in line with them because say a client have the right because they pay you. And then identify the step, outline the framework, how to solve the problems and until you find the solutions. And then draft. You have to draft lah. You have to write down the problem in a proper manner. So when you have the problem, basically to solve the problem, just now I told you, you have to come up with what? Objective. Tak kira lah you nak selesaikan masalah apa, masalah dekat site, your problem which relate to your FYP project, you must set your objective. Biasanya problem itu ada tajuk. Tajuk, lepas tu kita ada problem and then you have the objective. How you want to set the objective? Objektif yang kita buat tu apa? To characterize, to identify, to study. The verb yang you gunakan untuk menyelesaikan, untuk membuat objektif must be measurable, specific, achievable, relevant within the time waste. Contohnya kan, perbuatan you have contohnya verb yang boleh kita ukur. To determine, to characterize, to identify, to optimize. Sebab bila you nak optimize, ada kaedah untuk optimize. Bila you nak characterize, dia ada method. Kita nak characterize apa? Dia punya mechanical strength, behavior dia, apa yang you nak characterize. Dia mestilah verb yang boleh diukur, specific, boleh diukur, dan it can be solved within a very specific time frame. Dia tak boleh yang verb-verb yang tak boleh diukur. Macam mana nak siapkan ni, tak boleh. Ingat, terutama di dalam FYP dan juga your real work, the verb to apa? Tu verb ni biasanya to what kan? Your verb must be a measurable verb. Yang ni penting objektif ni. Macam mana you nak buat verb yang boleh diukur. So smart ni tadi yang saya kata specific. And then achievable, measurable, dia mesti boleh diukur. Kemudian achievable, dia mestilah ada output yang terakhir. Bila kita boleh ukur, what are the output at the end? And then relevant make your objective relevant, that can motivate you to answer the objective. And then basically the final one is time. You kan ada timeline, so they must be the time based. Selepas you ada problem, kemudian you ada objective, you have to find the scope. Scope of work. Scope ni apa? Scope kerja you tu apa? So apa ni, kerana apa you ada specific timeline. You mesti you have to work within the scope only. Because why? You have the limitation. There are certain thing you think to do, but look at the ideal timeline. Is it under your scope or no? If it is not under your scope, you do not need to do. That's why very specific for you to figure out the parameters of what you want to study, or parameters of what to be solved within the time frame. So these are the guidelines in writing the scope. The scope, look at the time period. While writing the scope, you have to define how long you want to solve the problem within the time frame. The geographical area. Geography meaning certain problem you want to solve it, you need to collect data. So in collecting the data, you have to see how far the area from your original working place. Kalau tempat you nak collect data tu jauh sangat, you kena kecilkan scope. You tak boleh compare data dengan tempat yang terlampau jauh kerana you ada timeline. And then how many your study population, especially you nak buat sampel, you nak buat survey. Say you nak buat survey tentang construction management, dissatisfaction of certain thing. So bila you nak buat survey, you tak boleh kata you dah tanya 3 orang, you complete the survey. No. So you have to ask yourself, the survey is to whom? Adakah survey ini kepada siapa? Kepada semua site supervisor, kepada semua project manager, ataupun kepada kepada ground workers, ataupun kepada siapa? Kerana when you decide that, it will determine to you your study population. So sample size yang paling baik jika you dapat ambil sampel yang banyak. Dan biasanya sample size yang terendah adalah the sample size should represent 5% of the actual population. Jadi you mesti tahu you punya ini adalah sangat penting sekiranya kajian you ataupun masalah tersebut adalah masalah berkaitan survey. Dia beza kalau you buat laboratories, dia beza. Kalau laboratories sepatutnya minimum sampel you kena ada berapa? 3. Minimum sampel kena 3. Kenapa 3? Kalau satu salah, you ada lagi 2. Kenapa tak boleh 1? Kalau satu sampel itu salah, you tidak ada sampel. So minimum sampel bila you buat kerja di luar ataupun di dalam makmal mestilah 3. Kalau you buat survey di luar, minimum sample is depend on the populations of the area. Okay. When you already see your study population, so look at the theory. What are the theories that you want to compare after you get the output? So after you get the theories and look at the purpose, briefly define the purpose of your project. Kemudian apa limitation yang you tak boleh buat? Limitationnya contohnya you hanya akan buat survey bukan satu Malaysia, di negeri Johor saja. Kalau negeri Johor kita ada berapa daerah. So survey you adakah ke semua daerah dalam negeri Johor ataupun you limitkan ke 3 daerah utama. Contohnya Batu Pahat, Keluang dan Muar. Yang ini 3 daerah yang berdekatan. Jadi each of the project or each of the study normally we have the limitation. Yang saya jelaskan ni sangat penting especially untuk your final year project. So please raise up your hand when you feel you don't understand untuk project final year. So problem basically when you have problem you want to find solution. So I think that's all for chapter 3. Sekejap Ada soalan tak? Ada soalan? Ada soalan tak? Tak ada? Problem statement, objective, scope ni sangat penting especially is not only for your working later but especially for your final year project. Jadi saya akan repeat again what did I share for today problem statement. Sebenarnya tadi saya dah tengok markah quiz. I'm not happy with the marks lah. Saya pun tak faham do you really understand or no? If you don't, please ask me because normally saya akan ajar. I'm trying my best to give the answer in the civil engineering background. See, today we are going to learn about problem statement. Problem statement is how you want to came out to write down a problem statement for your project. Definitely saya dah dedahkan beberapa teori tadi. You want to write down the problem statement. Ada beberapa teori yang kita telah dedahkan. Okey. Kemudian antaranya adalah catwood. Jangan risau istilah CATWOE itu semua. Walau macam kemudian you kena guna Kipling method. Kipling method maksudnya you need to list out. Dia sebenarnya list out. Jadi dalam keadaan sebenar kalau you tak menggunakan istilah ni apa yang you boleh buat untuk you selesaikan problem statement. The first thing is that you have to ask yourself what is the current situation. Bila you dapat aja satu masalah, you mesti tanya kepada diri you sebagai engineer bila you dapat masalah tersebut, what is the current situation? Kenapa you kena tanya what is the current situation? Because you want to see how serious the problem is already happened at that particular time. So what is the current situation? So bila you nak tahu current situation sebagai engineer ataupun bila you nak selesaikan projek PSM kalau sebagai engineer you nak tahu the current situation, you need to go to the site lah to see what happen on site that create the problems. Jadi kalau you nak selesaikan projek FYP, what is the current situation, you have to read. You have to read from the journals, from the book, from any technical data. Sekiranya SVU bagi satu tajuk, you kena cari bahan bacaan yang terbaru. Yang terbaru tu maksudnya apa? 5 tahun terkini. So what is the current situation? If your supervisor proposing to you one topic, so you need to browse the topic through the internet and look at the 5 years latest info daripada journals, daripada buku ataupun daripada technical write up proceeding dan sebagainya ataupun laporan-laporan technical So the first one is that what is the current situation, and then after you know the current situation is what when you have the problem, what is the current situation, you need to see first if you do have the current situation currently, what is the method that being used on site? Apakah kaedah-kaedah yang memang sedang digunakan di site untuk mengatasi masalah tersebut? Contohnya tadi saya tunjukkan gambar site kan. Tadi kawan you Haziq dah kata tak ada noise barrier. Jadi sebagai engineer, you have to go to the site. If people complaining on the noise, jadi you kena tengok dekat site ni sebenarnya dah ada apa. Adakah dia pasang noise barrier? Adakah? Jadi kemudian setelah you tengok dia punya physical attempt, look at the flow of work, ataupun you look at the activities based on you punya CPM, critical path method. Sekarang ni tengah aktiviti apa? Oh, patutlah orang komplain sebab buat foundation siang, tengah-tengah hari tu, ding dong. Sedangkan you punya site ni dekat dengan office. Peninglah orang yang duduk kat bangunan ni kan. Takkanlah kita yang menduduki bangunan ni nak kena pakai earplug. You kat site tak apa, you pakai earplug. Jadi tak boleh macam tu. After you go to know what is the current situation. Yang kedua, what are the method that being used now? Okay, apa dia yang sedang dipraktikkan sekarang. Ataupun kalau you buat study kan, apakah kaedah-kaedah yang sekarang ini digunakan. Kemudian, what you need to do, what you plan to do. Kemudian bila you dah nampak kaedah sekarang, you kena analyse. Sekiranya kaedah tersebut really working well, of course people will not complaining on your side. If people keep complaining, meaning that the current method that being applied on site is not workable. So you have another option to propose another method. Jadi you mestilah cadangkan kaedah lain ataupun improve the existing method. Jadi when you want to improve, you have to propose lah significantly kan, to improve. Kemudian bila you telah improve method tersebut, you have to evaluate lah berkesan atau tidak. Kalau if the method is workable, people will stop complaining. If the method is not workable, people will keep complaining. So this is how you want to came about with the write down the problem statement. What is the current situation? What are the current method being used, and then how well that method had been exploring and on that particular time, and then what you want to propose. Setelah you ada problem statement, next step you kena buat apa untuk selesaikan masalah. Biasanya masalah akan datang dengan specific timeline. Jadi you kena rancangkan objektif untuk selesaikan. Untuk membuat objektif, you mesti mulakan dengan perkara yang lebih mudah ke yang lebih susah. Jadi is to what Saya kata to, perkataannya, perbuatannya mestilah boleh diukur. To characterize, to optimize, to determine, to study. You jangan buat keyword yang tak boleh diukur. Tadi saya kata smart kan? Dia mestilah measurable within the time frame. So you mesti menggunakan verb yang smart. It's a smart verb. Setelah you ada objektif, kemudian you kenapa? Define the scope. Define scope. Sebenarnya you nak selesaikan masalah ini dalam satu tempoh masa, you kena ada skop-skop tertentu sahaja yang you boleh buat. Jadi untuk buat skop tertentu, you kena define lah bilangan sampel. Sampel tu berdasarkan population ke tidak. Saya kata kalau dia adalah kajian case di site atau makmal, you mesti ada minimum 3 kalau you buat satu tu salah besar. Contohnya kalau you ambil collect sampel dari luar yang bukan survey, you mesti mengulangi minimum berapa kali? 3 kali supaya data you betul. Tapi kalau you buat environment, sebab basically I am environmental background. Kalau you ambil data di luar melibatkan data environment, you kena be careful. Ambil data ketika musim panas atau hujan kerana kedua-dua keadaan akan they will resulted to different output. Jadi you kena ambil tahulah parameter-parameter ini. Tapi you adalah PSM. Tapi kalau you adalah final year project ataupun project you memang ada timeline dekat site, you kena cadangkan limitation. Limitation tu akan membataskan you supaya klien tidak akan argue ataupun panel FYP you tidak akan argue because you already spell out your limitations. So faham? Kelas hari ni sangat penting. It's not only for the sake to pass your CNI subject, because it will help you in the work and it will help you in completing your final year project. Any more question? Ada soalan lain? Ada soalan tak? Kelas hari ni sangat penting sebab dia akan bantu you untuk selesaikan chapter 1 di dalam apa? Di dalam report technical sebagai engineer ataupun chapter 1 di dalam final year project. Chapter 1 ni biasanya you ada apa? Study background, introduction, kemudian you ada problem statement, selepas problem statement you ada objective, and then you ada scope of the project, and then you ada limitation. Okay, these are basically chapter 1. Dia sama aja dengan penulisan technical you dekat site nanti. Juga mesti ada background of your project kan. Lepas tu you kena ada statement of problem, and then you akan ada objective dan sebagainya. Any question? Tak ada? Tak ada tak ada. Thank you for patient in listening. So to the Muslim student, saya ucapkan selamat Hari Raya